So the assignment that I had to do was do an estimating software video on Bluebeam for a given scope of work, windows and doors. So the assignment was based on the fire station drawings, and so I've had to go to the window and door schedule in the drawings, which is A 8.0. And so I went over here to the window schedule and I went ahead and color coded all the different types of windows and sizes. The total number of windows here is 44. So what I went ahead and did was create a spreadsheet for all the different sizes and the quantities, and I went ahead and added all the quantities right here. And so for the labor hours, it was multiplied by the total number of quantities for the windows times 3, which is the labor hours to install a window, and the cost was the total number of labor hours times 27.25, which is the cost per installing a window. And then I went ahead and also did a quantity takeoff on the glass for the windows, just in case like that's needed. Different jobs, like you would take off like all the different types of materials for the windows and whatnot. So the total labor cost we're getting is 3,597. And so I went ahead and also did the quantity takeoff for the doors. And the door schedule is a little bit more complicated. So I went ahead and color coded all the different door sizes and the different types. And so I went ahead over here and to my spreadsheet, right here, I listed all the different types of doors and the labor hours that would cost for the different types of doors. All doors have a different amount of labor hours that it would take for them to install them, and I went based off on the book. So I went ahead and calculated the total labor hours here, and as you can see, the total amount of labor hours for all the doors was 82 labor hours. And then I multiplied that number by the 27.25, which is the cost to install the doors. And our total labor cost is $2,234.50. So I wanted to show you a couple of ways that I did to determine these numbers. So the cool thing that you could do with a Bluebeam is you could do different colors using your highlighter tool right here, and you could choose all your different colors. That way it'll be nice and color coded, and you could have it all arranged by different types of doors and windows. And also what you can do is you could go ahead and export this schedule as an Excel workbook by going on your File tab, go to Export, and go where it says Excel workbook and click on page region. And all you gotta do is just highlight around the schedule area, and then you could save it into an Excel workbook, and I'll download it for you in Excel. I went ahead and did that already right here. You can see it's all the same. It looks just like the one on Bluebeam, and yeah, I went ahead and created my own little layout right here too. But you could download your schedules onto Excel. Here's the Windows schedule right here. I went ahead and downloaded that one too. And that way you could see like all the different types, and you could calculate it in Excel, like to see how many different types of doors and windows. Because for doors you have to look at the types. That's how you calculate it. The different types of doors by the labor hours, and then take the total amount of labor hours and then multiply that by your cost, which was 27.25. So the way I found all these different types was I went ahead and did a little formula right here. So for A, like all the different type A doors, I use this formula: count if from B3 all the way down to B38, comma, would be A. So I went ahead and did that, and it gave me the total number of all A types of doors. And I did the same thing for B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and J, and I got all my numbers right here. And so you take that number and you multiply that by your total, by your labor hours per different type of door, and then you get your total labor hours right here when you multiply these two numbers. And then take total amount of labor hours and multiply that by your cost, which is 27.25, and you get this number. And yeah, so there's a couple things you could do in Excel. You could, Bluebeam and Excel. You could color code. You could take different measurements, so you could see like the different sizes on Bluebeam for like the different doors. So like you could go ahead and measure it right here using the measurement tool. See, that's 6 inches. It's a little off. I believe you have to calibrate it. Let me go ahead and calibrate it here. So you always refer to the scale on the drawing. So for this one, what we could do is we could use the measurement tool, and we could calibrate right here, and we could measure this point from right there, and we'll call it this right here, just like how it says in the drawings, 0 feet dash 6 inches. Hit OK, and then when we go ahead and measure it again, it'll be 0 feet 6 inches. So now when we measure our other types, like this door right here, we measure like exactly how long it is, the width. That's 1 foot 0 inches, and the height of the door is 1 foot 2 inches. And obviously that's like the scale here on the drawings, but obviously there's no doors that are that small. That's just the way they have it drawn right here. But yeah, so doing quantity takeoffs on doors and windows is not too complicated, but it could be complicated if you don't sort out everything, make it look nice, and use color. Um, Excel obviously helps with that, and Bluebeam as well too, with all the different colors here, using the highlighter tool, and exporting your schedule here on Excel, making it a lot more easier for you to do your calculations to do your quantity takeoff. So yeah, that's it. And I hope you enjoyed.